Hello everybody, so I wanted to give you a review or thoughts video or whatever you want to call it for Resident Evil Village. I'm decently far into the game. I beat the giant lady and her castle, so I played this game probably like, I guess 6, 7 hours or something like that. I'm not sure exactly, but it doesn't really matter. So I just figured I'd maybe talk about it a bit because a lot of people are probably wondering if they should get this or not, because this is the hot new release at the moment, and it is the beginning of the hardcore gaming season. And we aren't quite at Broketober yet, but we're gonna get there eventually. I'll see if anyone gets any of those references. But yeah, Resident Evil Village, aka Resident Evil 8, follows where Resident Evil 7 picks up. Ethan Winters is back as the protagonist, and it's once again a first person Resident Evil game, which is a little weird because most of them prior to 7 were third person shooters. And a lot of people were really excited about this game when it was first announced, partially because of Giant Vampire Lady, but also because it looked like they were bringing back a lot of aspects from Resident Evil 4, which many people consider to be the best game in the series. I know for my part, Resident Evil 4 was where I started playing. It was the first Resident Evil game I ever played. Partially just because I didn't have the consoles that the others were on, because I'd always purchased Nintendo consoles. I think there are Resident Evil games for Nintendo 64, but they weren't very common, and I don't know if I ever really saw them. For GameCube is when you started to get into like the good version of Resident Evil 4, or I guess rather the Wii version was like the good version. But I liked Resident Evil 4 a lot more because it had like RPG elements. I really liked the environment in rural Spain, that sort of thing. Speaking of which, here's the Duke, who's our new merchant.
Well then, feel free to peruse.
I like Duke. I kind of wish they just brought the merchant back. Like, they didn't even need to have any kind of explanation for why they brought the merchant back. Just bring him back and have him ham it up. But that's a very minor gripe. So, yeah, it looked a lot like Resident Evil 4. So the question, of course, is it like Resident Evil 4? How does it stack up to the past couple Resident Evil games? Is it good? Is it worth buying? I'm going to say yeah. I'd probably give this game like a 9 out of 10 so far. It does a really good job of combining aspects from all the previous Resident Evil games. I think it makes very good use of first person, better than 7 does. The biggest problem with 7 was that there was no enemy variety. They were all just generic mold monsters. And in this game, you have like zombies, you have lichens, like werewolves, you have uh, gargoyle-like creatures that fly around. There's a much wider enemy variety, and just the map is much, much bigger. Like, at the moment, I'm just at the village, because I just finished one of the major levels. But, like, the castle's really big, very well designed, interesting. The graphics, I think they look really good. I mean, I don't know how well it comes out on YouTube, but I have a pretty good computer, so I'm playing this on, let's see, I think on high? Or I don't think I can change it. Oh, no. Okay, here we go. So I am playing this on... Yeah, high. And I think it looks pretty damn good. Character models look great. Weapon models look good. They did a lot of good work on just the environment. Maybe we'll go into the village and go look at a house or something to get a better idea. The music is really, really good. All the Resident Evil games, in my recollection, have good music, but this one is especially high quality. But yeah, you have aspects from all the different Resident Evil games. So, like, you have the inventory management, much like Resident Evil 4. You have crafting. Now, I think crafting was in some of the earlier games, maybe. I'm not entirely sure. But it kind of reminds me a bit of like Metro or something like that. So you can craft first aid equipment. I just craft a second one of those. Bullets, landmines. There's a decent variety of guns. I kind of wish there was more guns in this game. Like, there's a fair number, but I think they probably could have put more in. That's fine, though. There's a pretty good variety. I mean, you got your pistol, shotgun, sniper rifle. I think if you beat the game, you can get an AK-74 U or something. So there's a variety of guns. You've got your trusty survival knife, of course. So that's good. Also, it has the RPG elements, so you can upgrade your guns. You can find treasures. I like the introduction of treasures in 4 and 5, just because it provides a lot more impetus to explore and to try to find stuff. So I think it's they took kind of the RPG aspects and environments of 4, like the better graphics, the intensity of 7, and some more of the, I guess, a little more actiony aspects of 5 and 6. And they kind of mixed it all together, and this is what they came up with. And once again, I think they did like an amazing job with it. I have pretty much no complaints so far. Now, I will say, just in case people wonder, I am playing this on casual. I don't know, it's just now that I'm kind of older, I just don't feel like struggling through things nearly as much as I used to. So I kind of like just want to go through the game for gameplay, environments, story, music, that kind of thing. But I am really enjoying it so far. The villains are pretty good. Once again, there's a lot of aspects just from like previous games. Like, giant vampire lady is really scary, like when she's chasing after you and stuff like that. It's pretty funny to see her go through doors because she just has to like bend over heavily to fit through them. She was a good boss fight. Her daughters were good boss fights. Um, it's something I like about this is there's a very good mixture in a lot of these areas of old and new. Like there'll be modern stoves in some of these houses, but also like gas stuff. There's like electric elevators in the castle, but also the other stuff. I'll actually give them a lot of credit. The castle looks really like homey. It looks like it would actually be kind of a nice place to live, which kind of surprised me because a lot of castles I've been to in real life, I just don't really know how people would live there. Um, but they did a really good job on this one. So I don't know. You're in some random Eastern European country. Somehow Ethan can read everything here. Everything's just written in the Latin alphabet and in English. I mean, I guess the Latin alphabet's not that weird. You could be in Croatia or Poland or something, but it's a little odd. Um, I'm just kind of stuck at the moment because I'm not sure exactly where I'm supposed to go. I don't have the winch for that yet. It would be nice if there was a flashlight. It's not a huge deal, but yeah, the beginning of this game, I would actually recommend trying to avoid spoilers because there are a lot of like really shocking twists and turns. Just insane shit that happens. I think some people might complain that they went like full on into like vampires and uh even more overtly supernatural. Like, wow, I'm stupid. I didn't even see that before. Um and say, well, theoretically the Resident Evil games were horror sci-fi, they weren't actually fantasy. Some of the things in this game, like the women who turn into flies, goes too far in that direction. But in my mind, I mean, it's been the Resident Evil games have been yeah, that's always scary when you see stuff like that. Oh, let me see, what's the code for this? But they've already kind of been uh, basically games for a while now. So I don't really mind if they go into like full-on horror mode, like they do in this game, like gothic horror, like kind of supernatural aspects. It's a bit like with Metal Gear Solid, where it's like theoretically it's nanomachines that do everything, but you have nanomachines that like make someone into a vampire and stuff like that. There we go. 1911. Now that's what I'm talking about. A real man's gun. Ooh, okay. Winch handle. Out the window. Or... yeah, I don't know. Anyways, that's kind of a brief review of Resident Evil The Village. I'll do a full review if people want once I'm finished the game, but overall, I gotta say, really, really solid. They did a great job on this.